Edge of Wonder presents Cosmic Waves 2019.
That was awesome.
I mean, it is crazy.
Featuring special guest Elizabeth Wilcock.
Well, first of all, I remember seeing you for the first time at Cosmic Waves, and I was like, she's probably the most grounded person here. Like, I can see it in your eyes. Just there's something that you've gone through that has kind of just neutralized a lot of things, right?
Yeah,
like, there's a
right.
calmness about you. Mm-hmm. And I mean, from listening to your story and stuff too, the amount of determination it would take to go through the different practices that you've gone through to achieve the successes, I guess, that even you could say in the human world, but it goes much beyond that you have, is not normal. I mean, it's not a kind of like, it's really amazing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when a lot of people think about Navy SEALs and stuff, like the thing about Navy SEALs, you know, actually there is a Navy SEAL at the conference, and I was talking to him, and but what it was that got him through, that actually is the defining factor for all Navy SEALs, is this determination. Mm-hmm. It's like this endurance, and if they believe in themselves enough and they want it enough, they can get it, right? And so I just think that is really amazing, and I think people, I mean, you have to understand like that these kinds of practices, getting those 5 black belts, whoa, right? And I think
to keep showing up.
Yeah.
You know, a lot, and you have to really be present, and you have to earn it. You know, and they don't just give it to you.
No. Yeah, and I think a lot of people would be really inspired to, hear more about that. Like, what was that? What was that warrior life like? And when you were at your lowest, how did you pick yourself up and continue on and keep going and become the woman you are today?
Well, that's part of it's a blessing of the universe and how the universe met me. You know, because I definitely I have the ability to descend deep into the underworld, if you will. You know, so I've had a number of dark nights of the soul. And the medicine for each of those dark nights happened to be a lineage, if you will, like a mystic lineage. So when I almost feel like there's something about like the intensity of a spirit. You have to meet intensity, or else you will spin off like really hard. So I spun off so hard I was killing myself by the time I was 17. So there's something in my spirit that's very intense. So what I learned was it was good for me to put myself in a very intense situation where I was, in a sense, dominated by a greater beneficent force, if that's the way you say it, beneficial force. So what I learned to do was to put myself in the presence of masters that were basically male masters that were incredibly dominant, if you will, with these lineages. And that was like enough pressure. It was like I needed pressure of some sort. And that pressure, I could meet it. Like it felt familiar to me. And so I could meet the pressure, meet the pressure, meet the pressure. And as long as I knew that it was a healthy force, it was making me better. It was making me better to learn these martial art forms. You know, I was only getting more focused, more clear, more determined by doing so. I was sharpening my sword, as they say, your spirit is your sword. So being in that environment allowed me to, that part of my soul that could really go off the rails, if you will. I just learned to put it into particular environments, and that's why I had to find masters and grandmasters. I mean, that's why I mountaineered the Andes, that's why I shaved my head, that's why I did 70 ayahuasca journeys. There's something about me that had to go into intensity, and I don't know why, but I just, at this point, I attribute it to a warrior spirit because there's something in me that had to meet intensity. And so I was intensely hurting myself, and I can do that. I can intensely hurt myself. So I'm like, okay, let's put myself somewhere where I can intensely do something good with this. And that's what I have had to do for my spirit, and that's why I got on those paths, you know. I'm a girl, you know, so I don't think that I'm going to win a fisticuffs battle with a man. That's not why I trained. I trained because I love the movement arts and I love the mystic arts. I love to move my body in these ways. I like that. So I didn't do it because I wanted to fight people. But if I had to defend myself, I'm not afraid.
Well, this whole journey that we're all really going on, I think it's kind of like when we put others first, or we do something in the line of what the creator wants, that's when everything just seems to kind of fall in place for people. Well, you know, in the beginning it kind of falls in place, or it could seem to fall apart, but then it's all, you know, it's really testing us to see if we're worthy enough to, like, you know, go through.
Will you
this
sacrifice
and,
those parts of yourself so that you can be a channel for creator, really?
Yeah, so going back to what you were saying, you had all these abilities, and then you wanted them all to go away.
Yeah.
And then you asked for everything to come back.
I never asked for those abilities to come back.
You didn't? Okay. I'm sorry.
Well, I didn't ask for, like, because I was saying the telekinesis and seeing spirits. I never asked for it back. Well, I pursued it in a different way, if you will. The way it was happening, it was like something was rent asunder, you know what I mean? And so then I chose to cultivate my ability to enter into the spirit world, rather than the spirit there being kind of like a tear in reality, is what it seemed like it was to me. So what I've done is I've learned to interface with the reality we have, because Western people have a totally different reality than if you're in the jungles of South America. So I have to interface, unless I want to be way out there. So I interfaced, and then I learned techniques to, I created times, like, I'm going to go into the spirit world now, you know, and go into the spirit world and then put myself back together, or I'm going to do a shamanic journey now. So I don't have the TK stuff now like it was, and I don't have the spirits coming to me in the way that they used to.
Oh, interesting.
Like that.
The Edge of Wonder presents Cosmic Waves 2019.
That was awesome.
I mean, it is crazy.
Featuring special guest Elizabeth Wilcock.
So you had a lot of guides that you were really, like angels especially, you know, you really believe in angels. So I found that really fascinating. It was my own personal experience with angels and everything. Can you share a little bit about that?
Yeah, so I've been working with angels consciously since I was 18. And when I was 18, one of my best friends taught me this archangelic invocation, which I use to this day. And it's just very simple, and it's just invoking the archangels of the four directions. But that was like the first invocation that I was ever taught. And when I was 18, I was just so starry-eyed about this stuff. You know how special it is when you're first getting introduced to it all. So that stayed with me my whole entire life. And you know when you get into a dream and you get into trouble, like there's a negative situation happening in your dream or a negative entity, I start calling in the archangels, and it immediately transforms it every single time. So that's deeply embedded in my being. And then as time went on, as I did all my shamanic journeys and did all the ayahuasca journeys, then the angelic realms really opened up to me. So on ayahuasca, it's a way of entering into the spirit world. I mean, it's a very ancient, sacred sacrament that shamans, healers, have taken in order to access the spirit world to get healing and guidance. That's the way it should be done, and it's the traditional way. So in doing that, the angelic realms opened up to me, and that's when, like I said today, Metatron began to merge with me. So I would see these golden angelic hosts, and I do qigong, you know. So I was lucky enough to be able to do ayahuasca like out in nature and out in fields, and it would be in the dark, and I would be, you know, calling down the angelic energies into my body and flowing it through my body into the earth, and just really like communing and dancing with the angels, and then Metatron would merge with my body.
Wait, for those of you who don't know, Metatron isn't a transformer. It's an actual angel, like a particular angel, right?
Very particular angel.
Yeah,
He's not actually mentioned in the Bible, but he's mentioned in a lot of other texts, like Christian texts.
Yeah, it's interesting, and
Not a transformer.
so he would merge with me, and I'd be laying on the ground. I would just feel these pulses of light going through me, these pulses of light, and you know, at first I didn't ask what the name was, but after a few times, the same being coming in, like, "What's your name, Metatron? What are you doing?" "I'm helping you to handle more light," right? So I would have these very specific interactions, and then that's also where I saw the heavenly hosts forming in formation, coming together in formation, which is, I mean, this is going to sound crazy, but there's like a war in heaven, if you will. So
doesn't sound crazy to us, believe me.
there's you know, this crazy world we live in, you know, the dark forces and the light forces. So for whatever reason, this time period right now is the standoff. And my husband talks about it a lot, you know, regarding ascension, and the Law of One talks about it. So it's very interesting to see it, because I wasn't into this stuff. You know, I didn't know about any of this until I met David. The Law of One, the Cabal, like none of that was really part of my cosmology, if you will. But I had all these other experiences where I saw the, you know, standoff in heaven, and clearly the angels are part of my soul group, you know, and I feel like I'm one of them on the ground. When I die, I'm going back there,
You
know.
look like one.
Thank you. So yeah, I feel like I'm part of that realm, and that I said, yeah, I'll go, you know. And now I'm all like dirty, you know. I've got scars all over the place, and you know, I'm like, really? What was I thinking?
Welcome to the human world.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's so fascinating. I mean, so I personally had experience with Metatron years
That's interesting,
and years ago. How I even connected with it was I was told one morning by my angelic guide, I guess you could say, to go somewhere. I did. I met a woman, and I talked to her for a long time, and I was going to leave, and then this force stopped me, and I turned around, and she's just like, "Somebody is coming through," and I was just like, "Who's coming through? I don't know anybody." And she just looked at me, and she just said, "Christopher." And then I just said, "Oh my gosh, that was my cousin who passed away when he was about 13 years old." And she saw him playing basketball. Oh no, I saw him playing basketball. And then she told me, "I see him playing basketball."
wow.
And it was like, because as soon as she said Christopher, it was like something just opened up in me. And it was just like all of these layers of dimensions just kind of opened up, where everything just all of a sudden became so real. And she's like, why am I seeing him playing basketball? And I said, because he could never walk in this life. And he's showing me, hey, look, Ben, I'm, you know, everything's fine. So he kind of guided me. He was one of the first people to kind of guide me through the meditations. And he told me, he's like, there's somebody I want you to meet, that you need to meet.
Wow.
And he kind of took me, actually went underwater,
Getting chills.
believe it or not. And I just heard this extremely deep voice, and it just said, "Hello, Ben." And he just said, "My name is Metatron, and I'm going to be guiding you for a while."
Nice.
And he took me, and I would see like universes being born and forming and everything. And he told me very similar things that you did, that there was this battle going on, and I'm here.
Oh, he told you that too?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And he told me, he's like, "I'm here to prepare you."
Yeah.
Because
that's so interesting.
Yes,
He did the same thing with
He
me.
did the same thing,
Wow.
yeah. And that's why when you were telling me this, I got chills too.
That is so
because I was
interesting.
just like, oh my gosh, this is exactly what he told me. And he's just said, he's like, I'm only going to be with you for a short time.
Yeah, same with me.
But I'm here to train you and prepare you, and then you'll have new guides that will help you on your future journey.
And now look at what's happening. And now look at what we're all doing. Because really we're kind of sacrificing ourselves. We're on the front lines of something here. And so, I mean, it does take, that's why I talk about the sacred warrior, because you have to be a sacred warrior to be doing what we're doing. This is not makeup, and this isn't just because, oh, you like to be on YouTube or something like that. It has nothing to do with that. You know, this is actually a sacred charge, if you will, that has pain and sacrifice, you know, because we're all kind of shy people. It's not like we said, oh my God, I just want all these people to look at me. I want fame or something. It's like, no, there's actually a mission here that is a real mission. And it's so interesting that he did that with you.
Yeah, it was a very, I mean, he showed
when
me
was this?
This was back in, oh my gosh, like 2000.
3 or 4. Yeah.
Oh wow, that was a long time ago.
It was a long time ago, and it's just so incredible. Yeah, and then then it just started. All of this just put me down this whole journey.
That's why I say, you know, like I opened up my talk today with, you know, are we predestined to something new? Do we have predestiny in our lives? And what I mean by that is, like, have we agreed to do something here? And is there a greater plan that's putting us all together and making these connections? You know, and I really, truly feel that as long as we stay in alignment with the light, and that means like not getting out of alignment with stupid ego stuff, you know, and greed and whatever, as long as we stay in alignment with it, we're in this flow. But if you get out of alignment, you know.
Did you hear that, people?
Yeah.
Really, very important message, seriously.
Oh, you'll get your butt kicked.
Yeah.
You know, you will. I mean, if you, like, I've got like this much leeway, you know, and they kick my butt if I go off like that.
I'm the exact same way. And if I do go off track, like, it's like, nope, and it's like I'm hit really hard. So
Yeah.
It's like, if
They
you're going this,
spank
it's like, yeah, you
like-
have to it's like we have to pick you up and force you to go this way, no matter how painful it is. We're gonna take you and put you, this is the path you need to be on, and we just need to make sure that you're on this path. And yeah, it's kind of been my life for a lot of ways.
And that's why we have to learn to navigate. We have to learn to navigate from our own navigational system, which is our intuition and our own sense of feeling. And the path of TikTok and the matrix reality takes us away, usually, from that path of intuition and being in alignment with this angelic light and this creator light. And it takes us away. And that's why people get so sick over there. And that's why then there's this like turbulence period, you know, where you're kind of breaking because you're breaking down, breaking away from that. But once you get in alignment with your real path and with the light, you start getting nourished and fed, and then you start finding these other people, you get inspired, you know, things come to you that help you out.
The Edge of Wonder presents Cosmic Waves 2019.
That was awesome.
I mean, it is crazy.
Featuring special guest Elizabeth Wilcock.
You know, one of the questions a lot of people ask us is like, how do you know when a being is good, or, you know, when these beings will come to you?
Right.
And one thing we really tell people is that, you know, the bad beings will tell you how great you are, how special you are, and that, you know, you're destined for all these things or whatever. But the good beings force you to look at yourself in ways that you don't really want to look at, or you know, your things that you need to change in your life. That it's like I said, I want to go down this path. This is the path I want to go on, and they're like, no, you can't go down this path. Like, you know, it's like this, and it's like this path is harder though. But it's like this is the path that you need to stay on, and so it's one way that both of us, you know, well now things are so much more clear with beings coming to us, but in the beginning.
You mean human beings or spiritual beings?
Spiritual beings, like, you know, because I mean that's just a lot of questions that come up is just like, well, how do you know if these spiritual beings coming to you, if they're like demons trying to act as good beings, or if they really are like angelic beings.
And also with specific people, especially in our community, there are these things called downloads that people get right time. And a lot of times when I listen to people, they're not necessarily distinguishing, for lack of a better word, nonsense from actual important messages that they could be getting. And it can be very dangerous if people aren't aware, and
there's a lot of ego sometimes.
Exactly. And if there is that involved, that's when the messages can actually get changed and warped, because there's something that you want or desire, and it's not something, you don't have a clean slate when something's coming in, and you have to die to a lot of things in order to be a clear channel. And so, like, one of the things that you said about me being grounded is because so many things have died. So many things have died, and what's left is just like more of the raw spirit, that's still here. But it's important to die to your desire for power. It's important to die to your desire for fame, recognition, people to tell you you're amazing, people to give you money. All of that stuff they call it doche in the martial arts. It's off, and it will not reap good rewards for you or for anybody else. And so, especially in martial arts, it can kill you.
It's called doche, and nobody will let you have it. Like a real master or grandmaster, and they cut that stuff from you. I mean, they will literally come up and they will, kick you around if they see any of that stuff in you. And that's part of their job, is to cut the illusion from you. And so it's also the part of the real spiritual guides. They will cut the illusion from you. And when you go through initiation experiences, you will die to whatever those things are that are you like wanting something and trying to manipulate it. That is the sign of an immature soul, right? So part of the maturity is sourcing this way. It's sourcing it this way. You don't need anybody to tell you who you are. You already know who you are.
That's right.
You don't need anybody to tell you the value that you have. You know the value that you have. You know the power that you have. Nobody needs to tell you that. That's when you have this, it's the realness of it.
Especially if you're actually a person that's searching. Like if you're a good person and you're a person that's actually looking for the truth genuinely.
Sincerity. Is
you'll get corrected hardcore. But if you're not, a lot of times this kind of snowballing in the wrong direction can actually continue. So it's really, the sincerity is actually really important.
Sincerity is a huge piece, and I say that like in my priestess path. I say, it's when I bring women in, I literally say on my website, like, for sincere seekers only, and sincerity is a huge part, because if it's not there, it's never right.
Yeah, and you might as well just leave, right? Like, what are you there for?
Yeah.
You're not going to get anything out of it, literally. Hopefully, people can kind of realize that this life is for more than just the material things around us, and should be diving a bit deeper than, what's currently out there, This environment that we're in other words, where we're actually even talking about this, it's not actually that normal, right? Like people watching these videos, watching David, watching Edge of Wonder, watching Jordan, like they're something has happened to them where they're actually looking for something, or maybe they went through something, and it's not everyone. I mean, it's, of course it's hundreds of thousands of people now, but we hope that more people can be searching,
I think that as we do more of these things, and as this energy is getting out there, it's almost like this kind of a cloud is becoming more clear in people. And for the first, we're seeing it in our comments, like people asking us, like, hey, I just, like QAnon, for example, they're just like, we're getting more comments of people just saying, yeah, I'm just finding out about Q, like, where do I start looking? People coming to us and saying, was not into this stuff at all. A friend of mine kept telling me I need to watch your guys' channel, and I watched it. Now I'm like, just diving into this stuff, and it's like, they're just getting blown away. And then they're like he said, they're looking into everybody else and doing all these their own research. So it seems like a lot more people are starting to wake up, but there's still those people out there that just cut themselves off because it's like, well, nothing exists. It's just, we live this life, that's it, it's over, and I'm just going to live my life and make money and not think about anything at all. And I think those are the people that I feel kind of most sad for, in a way.
Yeah, and this planet is a mixture of so many different beings from all different places and levels and all of that. And it's really just this, I see it like a kindergarten class, and some kids are running around throwing paint at each other, and some kids are like, just being mean to each other, and then some kids are sitting there in meditation, but it's like this chaotic kindergarten class. And the test is love. The test is, can you remember where you came from and align with that, align with the divine light? Remember that you're an interdimensional being, you're multidimensional, and that this is a temporary experience, for you to be in love, and then you can graduate into another place. But this is a particular classroom for us.
Please graduate.
Yeah. So it's a bit, messy. There's a lot going on.
Yeah.
But we're the ones to create a new reality. Like, who else is going to do it if we're not going to be the ones to anchor in a new way of doing things or looking at things, or a new way of education? Somebody has to do it. Somebody has to build new buildings. Somebody has to clean up the oceans. Even if we think that this world is only going to last 10 more years, you still have to do it, And that's
Totally.
the test of a warrior. Amidst a battle, will you still help people on the battlefield? When your life is threatened, when it's just all hell is broken loose, what do you do? So it's a real test of the spirit, because the human spirit is really tested under pressure.
That's true.
When everything is fine, no big deal, right? But when there's pressure, now who are you? And now what do you do? And so I feel that that's a part of the alchemy of what we're all doing here, is what do you do under this crazy pressure in this crazy world?
It shows people's true nature.
How do you do it? How do you play? And what we've all done is we're like, okay, I don't know, we're gonna focus on good stuff, we're gonna surround ourselves with good stuff, we're gonna talk about good stuff, we're gonna talk about these amazing experiences that we've had, because, oh my gosh, if you've had an experience with Metatron, whoa, like, I wanna talk about that, I wanna think about that, where did that come from? That felt so amazing, that was an angel. So we focus on those things that are amazing and magical and good. And so that's what we do on the battlefield.
Well, so shall we wrap it up?
Yeah.
Okay, but before we do, well, actually, you're about to say 6 things, so do those first before I do this.
Okay, yeah. So, the question that I always ask everybody first time I interview people, like, what keeps you motivated? Like, why do you keep doing what you're doing, and kind of like your personal philosophy of why you do what you do?
It's the people, the way that people get touched by it. It's seeing people light up and seeing people make connections and say, this really changed my life, and so that keeps me involved and active inside of giving with people.
That's amazing. You were kind of saying, well, I'm just the wife of David Wilcock.
Yeah.
You kind of really downplayed yourself a lot, right? But I actually just want you to know that these kinds of cultivation things that you're talking about are critical for our community. And you can't stop sharing these things. It's actually incredibly important. It's as important as what David is doing. And you should really know that and embrace it, and just do what you can, because people are going to be insanely positively influenced by your experience. It's a very, very unique situation and experience, and you should I really hope you keep sharing it, because it's been really inspiring for me, and I'm sure for Ben this weekend.
Definitely, like hearing you talk, I was just, there was multiple times where I almost started crying, especially when you started talking about Metatron. I was just like, oh my gosh, like, this is the same thing that I experienced, and I was just kept thinking, like, your journey is almost like very similar to mine, like how I came into all of this. Obviously, I'm not a 5-degree black belt, but
in spirituality.
Yeah.
You have a black belt on YouTube, though. I think. You have a YouTube black belt. Yeah.
But yeah, you know, but so it's just I just feel so connected with you, and I completely agree with Rob. And I know our fans, and they're gonna really just.
One of the biggest questions we get asked, like we have to understand this too, is like they're asking us about the spiritual, and of course one of the reasons Ben and I came out was to talk about that. But there's been a lot of exposing of things that we've needed to do. So having folks like you on the show to actually get into this and start talking to people about it's really refreshing for us too.
I mean, of course, you know, we love talking about the positive things, and you can't just only talk about the positive things without shining the light on the negative stuff.
You need to know what's going on.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Of course, yeah.
But it's good to come back to this, and I feel like with you and David, you just have such a great balance.
Yeah.
So it's just amazing. And after talking with you and after talking with David, it's just like, wow, you know, it's
Power couple.
it's great. It's great.
Yay. Well, it's been really fun to
So
be here with you guys in
Elizabeth,
person.
thank you so much for being with us. It's been great.
You're welcome.
Okay, so we're gonna actually do one more thing.
Oh, yeah? Do I have
We're
to say
gonna-
something?
Yes.
Do
So yeah,
I have to say,
so
like,
just do the whole thing. Right?
Edge of Wonder?
You can,
Say this is Elizabeth. No, usually this is Elizabeth Wilcock on Edge of Wonder, and we'll see you out on the edge. And you're gonna say it at that camera. Which one? This one. Okay.
This is Elizabeth Wilcock with Edge of Wonder, and we'll see you out on the edge.
Yes. She double gunned. I love it.